When it comes to figuring out how your health insurance works, a lot of people understand the idea of whether or not the doctor they're seeing is in network or out of network. In network usually means you're going to be paying less. Out of network means you're going to be paying more, maybe even the full price if your health insurance doesn't cover it all. But there's a little bit more to the story that I want to break down for you guys. So when a doctor is in network, they actually have a contract with their health insurance company that gives you guaranteed pricing. So the health insurance company and the doctor have already decided that for this specific medical service that you're going to be getting, this is exactly the price that your health insurance is going to pay. This is exactly the price that you are going to pay. So the contract between the doctor and the health insurance is not only between those two people, but it also includes you. You are in an obligation to pay your share of the medical bill. This is an important piece of information to know if you go to an in network doctor and you're trying to negotiate your medical bill. This contract comes into play. Out of network doctors don't have that contract. And usually you get penalized as a patient. You end up paying more, just a higher amount of the total bill, or health insurance decides not to cover it at all. There's a couple of exceptions to the rule that I like to point out to people. A lot of people don't know this, but there's something called a network gap extension. And you can ask your health insurance for it. So if your kid ends up getting prescribed to go some specialist that specializes in kids' ears or kids' brain development, and you can't find a single doctor in your area that provides that service, then any doctor you go to would be considered out of network. And so you can call your health insurance up and say, hey, my kid needs this ear specialist or this brain specialist, and there's nobody in your network who can help with that service. You can ask for the network gap extension, and you can actually get in-network pricing. It usually takes a little bit of time, a few hours that the doctor has to put into it in order to get it, but that can bring you in-network for some doctors. Another thing to keep in mind too is that when you're in emergency, the in-network and out-of-network system works completely differently. So if I live in Nebraska and I go to New York City and of course I get hit by a car and I end up having to go to a New York City hospital, well, my Nebraska health insurance coverage probably doesn't have any New York City hospitals in network. So when it's a life or limb threatening emergency and you have to go to a hospital that's out of state, of course only in the US, and nobody in that state that you're in, it would be considered in network. For emergency services, no matter where you are at in the US, you will be considered in network at that hospital, and your health insurance will cover your medical bill exactly like it's in network. So just a little heads up, a little bit more about the difference between in-network and out-of-network when dealing with your health insurance. If you want to learn more about negotiating medical bills or making health insurance appeals, go to smart-patients.teachable.com for a class for more information.